Oh, hey there, bud. We got a big fight coming up between Andrei the Pitbull Arlovski, former UFC champ, and Tanner the Bulldozer Boser. Matt, it is Canadians fever. And by Canadians fever, I mean, who doesn't know about Tanner Boser to this point? This guy has been absolutely amazing in a UFC octagon, with the lone blemish being his fight against future champ Cyril Gane, in a fight that was halfway competitive. And I mean, Matt, it's been a long time coming because Tanner Boser, toiling away with the ACBs and the M1 Globals of the world, he also fought for Unified. He was former heavyweight champ there back home in Alberta. This is a guy billed out of Bonnyville, Alberta, living and training in the Edmonton area. And holy smokes, I mean, real coming out party in his last couple of fights. 2020's really been Tanner Boser's year. And if you look at the fights, the knockout win over Felipe Lins was amazing. And then you get the classic. I mean, we're Canadians. I've got a Molson Canadian there. Let's do it. Oh, boy.
Wow. So I'll take over as Craig cracks a Molson Canadian with his teeth.
Oh.
This is such a fun fight for so many reasons, because Tanner Boser, before that Cyril Gane loss, was kind of known as more of a decision heavyweight. He wasn't going out there finishing people. He was more of a volume guy, and he wasn't having the most exciting fights. And after that Gane loss, he went back to the factory, and he just rebuilt himself. He's one of the few heavyweights now that I can trust to go 3 rounds, because with a lot of heavyweight fights, you know you're going to get that, we say 1 round of excitement, but let's be honest, it's much closer to about 2.5 minutes. But you have that 1 round of excitement, and if no one gets finished, you know, the pace will be labored. They're going to be fighting underwater pretty much for the next 2 rounds. Boser keeps that really nice pace, and that's actually going to be the really fun thing about this fight. Andrei Arlovski is 41 years old. He's got wicked output, though, and he's got good cardio. So this fight is going to be more similar to like a middleweight fight than I think it will be a heavyweight fight. And I think that's a really entertaining and interesting aspect.
And I don't think it's a controversial thing to say. And for Arlovski, he was taking on the best of the best for the longest time and continues to do so, really. And again, doesn't really have issues going 3 rounds, and he can keep his output up. And I mean, if you look at the losses from, let's go 2016 to 2017, Stipe, Overeem, Barnett, Ngannou, Tybura. Champ, title challenger, M1 Global champ, maybe future champ, Marcin Tybura.
I was going to say Marcin Tybura.
And then he beats Albini, he beats Struve, loses to Tuivasa, loses to Kimov, has the no contest against Walt Harris, loses to Augusto Sakai, beats Ben Rothwell, loses to Rosenstrike, beats his teammate Felipe Lins, and now he's into this fight against Boser. So again, the former common opponent being Felipe Lins, and it's a recent fight that we can kind of go off of. Do you favor Arlovski because he has had a good decision win against Lins, or do you favor Tanner Boser that knocked out Lins and then finished Rafael Pessoa? I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one. But the one thing that I do know that I will kind of point out in this fight, the fact that we talk about how well-rounded Tanner Boser is, he's not one of those guys that has to go to decision. That was kind of always the calling card. He can finish a fight. He does one thing that a lot of heavyweights don't do. He can back up just slightly and whip that leg kick out and just continue to go to the well the entire fight. So I look at it here. I like the striking differential from Tanner Boser. I like the level of competition. I also like the fact that he has 100% takedown defense through all of his fights so far in the UFC. It's a limited sample size. But for Tanner Boser right now at heavyweight, the sky's the limit, and he's one of those fighters that, just like we had here recently with Joaquin Buckley, Buckley comes in on short notice and loses to Kevin Holland and then knocks the hell out of Impa Kasanganay to the tune, and I'm not joking, to the tune of a new Kanye West drop.
Nah. Sorry.
For Tanner Boser, you lose a fight against Cyril Gane after you beat Daniel Spitz. It's a positive. It is. It's a positive to lose to a guy like that. It's a learning experience. And for Tanner Boser, he's this far into his pro career. He's a young guy. He has over 20 pro fights. You're just going to continue to get better. I think this is a great opportunity to go out there and get a win. Am I saying that Arlovski doesn't have a chance because we're both wearing Canadians jerseys and I'm drinking a Molson Canadian and Jeff Molson, who owns the Canadians, is a Molson? Maybe. I mean, the stars are kind of aligning here. But Andrei Arlovski certainly does have a shot. I just heavily favor Tanner Boser in this fight.
So, again, it's pretty obvious who we're going to pick in this, but at least let me set the plan as to why I think Tanner Boser is going to win. Andrei Arlovski has had a pretty good level of success fighting these guys who are, maybe they're not in the top 15 and they haven't been there for a long time, but guys who are trying to get to that level. He is very much the gatekeeper for the heavyweights now, and every now and then he'll kind of surprise you and beat a guy you didn't think he was able to, and then for the majority of the time, he'll just kind of Andrei Arlovski himself. Because he realizes he doesn't have a great chin anymore. And I actually think that's one of the more respectful parts of his game, because he doesn't just go in there and try to throw hands like he did when he fought Travis Brown. It's like, okay, I throw, you throw, we're going to see who falls. And he's never had a great chin throughout his career, let's just be honest. He's been stopped quite a few times. But what he's been able to do is he can out-volume a lot of the guys who he deals with now. They throw a lot of bombs trying to knock him out because they know if they can just land that one big shot, then they can put Andrei Arlovski away. And a win over a former UFC champion, no matter what stage of their career that they are at, is still a really big thing to have on your resume. Tanner Boser doesn't really have that problem, though. Like, if you fight a Walt Harris or even an Augusto Sakai, I understand those are losses for Arlovski, although both being split decisions. Tanner Boser's not going to just try to throw power, and then after that first round, if he doesn't knock you out, he's going to have a labored pace, then you can just tee off on him. If he doesn't knock you out in the first round, that's fine. He's going to set up his combinations for the second one. And by the second round, the leg kick's going to be working. So then Arlovski, who really does use his footwork, and he doesn't use wasted footwork either. I do like what Arlovski's done in this stage in his career. I'm actually a big Arlovski fan because I like the fact that he'll throw his combination, he gets out of danger, and then he goes back in. He will readjust. He's not going to go out there and just start flatlining people anymore.
He's not like, and there's a good example at the start of this card, like Max Griffin. You watch Max Griffin fight, and he's kind of like a new style Ben Rothwell at 170. He's herky-jerky with his movement. He keeps his head out there, and he really throws hands. I like what you said there. I mean, Arlovski really does move in and out of danger well. Not to say that he doesn't get knocked out, but he does use that movement to his advantage rather than, hey, it's a part of my game and look out.
Exactly, and I don't think you don't need Francis Ngannou power to knock out Andrei Arlovski. Tanner Boser has more than enough power. He just doesn't also have all the detriments that come from having the crazy Francis Ngannou power. The fact that you can't go 15 hard minutes or, all those other detractors. So Tanner Boser, stylistically, this is just a perfect fight for him. It's a fight that's going to get him a lot more media because now he's the co-main event. He's going to get a lot more eyes on Canadian MMA, always a great thing. And he is one of the... It's been a while since there's been like an exciting Canadian, what feels like prospect in the UFC at least.
Hakeem
Dawodu's on his way, and there are a few names, but it does feel like Tanner Boser's one of the, I'll say, leading members of that group, who is, I'm not telling you, Tanner Boser's not beating Stipe Miocic for pretty much ever, let's just be honest. But he's going to beat Andrei Arlovski. I can't wait for this fight. I can't wait for more Tanner Boser. I'm just excited for this weekend.
All right, so Matt, let's talk about the odds here because we really should.
Fair.
Tanner Boser, the overwhelming favorite, open to minus 260. There's a couple blips on that radar, but it's really started to go the way of Boser. Minus 280 favorite at this point. For Andrei Arlovski, opened up a plus 220. He's now at a plus 223. If we have a look at Tapology, out of 803 total votes, 88% going Boser, 75% saying he's going to win the fight by knockout. Matt, I'm not going to go with a prop on that one. I'm just going to go with Tanner Boser to get the win. I'm going to enjoy it. My nice Molson's not a sponsor. Have a nice sip of that and sit back and enjoy this fight. I think it's going to be a great one. We're both going with Le Canadien, Monsieur Tanner Boser to get the win. I'm looking forward to this. We got a great main event. Glover Teixeira taking on Thiago Santos. So you're going to want to keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt. As we always say,
let's get into it.